been trading stocks for 15 years, but I've only been trading options for a few months now. And this week was my most lucrative week yet. I'm going to show you all the trades that I made. You ready? Let's go. This is part 17, where I show you if I can make $180 a week selling covered calls on HIMS stock. Well, at least that's how it began. It's since morphed. And I know I'm wearing a white shirt today, and it's probably throwing a lot of you. You're like out there like, wait, what's going on here? Why is his shirt not black like it always is? Just felt like switching it up. One of the stocks that I was selling covered calls on absolutely skyrocketed, which goes back to my original point with this series, that the goal is to make some of the money, not all of it. So let's take a look. So we start off with HIMS because that's what the series is based on. And you can see that I made $631 in the week. These shares were assigned, so I'm getting back my $17,000. The next one on the list was D-Wave, which was also assigned. I made, $307. Then there was SoundHound, where I made $293. These shares were not assigned. This is a new one for me, iRen. I made $454. These shares were assigned. This is the roller coaster week, which we'll look at the chart in a second. And finally down here, Applied Digital or APL, I don't even know what this one didn't get assigned, went down, so I'm sitting on a little bit of a loss, but I made $218. I also made this trade on Wednesday. These were all made on Monday. And you can see here that prior to this last one here, I spent around $38,000. I made $1,600 or 4.3%. But when I added APLD, my cost went up to $43,478. But I made $1,900, which is the most that I've ever made with this strategy. But iRen, this is the one that went absolutely crazy. Now, just a lot of you are going to see the chart and people are going to say, you should have just traded it. Of course, hindsight being 2020, but we don't have that at the beginning of the week. When I bought this at $39.94, nobody knew it was going to do what it did. So let's just take a look. So this is the stock. I bought it at around $39, almost $40. Next day it went up a little bit, but the third day, which was Wednesday, you can see that this stock rockets from where I purchased it at just around $40 to $50 per share. A couple things here. One, nobody knew this was going to happen. If I knew, I would have put my whole life savings into this thing and I would have sold it right at the tippy top at around $49 and, 40 cents, and I would have made an insane amount of money. I didn't know that. I'm still happy with the $454. And by the way, look what ended up happening. It went up and then straight right back down. But because it closed at $41.86 and my strike price was $40, I'm still out of this position and I can trade more covered calls on it next week if I so choose. Another thing to note is even if we expected a big jump in this thing, you can't really predict the profit. You can't say, well, I'll buy it at $39.94 and I'll sell it at $49.50. Nobody knew that it was going to go all the way up here. Even if I had just traded it and not sold covered calls, I likely would have gotten out in the mid 40s and I would have missed out on the rest of this profit. But that's okay. My goal isn't to make all of the money, just some of it. And by the way, I made $1,900 across this whole trade. Overall, I'm very happy with this. By the way, if you've been following this series, you know that I was in a company called QuantumScape. I bought it at $11.40 something. It went down to $7. I couldn't decide, should I sell it, take a loss, should I hold it and just hope it comes back? I didn't really need, I think it was around $5,700, got it written down. I didn't really need that money. So I said, well, I'll hold it and we'll see what happens. It ended up coming back last week. I sold covered calls last week for an expiration today. So that's why it's not counted on my chart here or on my whiteboard. But I ended up getting assigned on this one. It's $12.66 now. So those shares are finally gone, which clears up another $5,700 that I can trade with next Monday, which is what I'm going to do. If you want to learn how to trade, I know people look at this and they go, well, I don't have $17,000. I don't have $7,000. The point of this series is to show you that you can do this. You can make passive income, even if you don't have 17,000. You don't have to buy 300 shares. You don't have to buy 400 shares. All you need to do this is enough money to buy 100 shares of any company you want. 100 is the minimum because each contract represents 100 shares. And I have one quick new rule on this channel, which is if you're not following me and you leave a comment or you send me a DM, I won't respond to you. It's just one way I set some boundaries prevent some people from taking advantage. All right, see you later.